All right, this should be our final video for Chapter 2. As I look at the objectives, it occurs to me I didn't quite get there on the third objective. What we did is we set up view binding, but we never actually wired anything up using the view binding. So we're going to have to do that. We're going to go back and do that real quick with our true button and our false button. We'll do it for the first time with our next button. But we also have to do it for the text view so that we can start scrolling through all of the different questions. All right, so let's take these comments out. And it doesn't know what true button is, but if I just go binding.trueButton, it's as if it's declared it, binds it, and sets the listener all at once. It gets the reference and it sets the binding, it gets the reference, get rid of that. It does the view binding, the two steps all at once. It gets the reference, as you can see when I put the binding in there, right there. The true button, it now understands what it is, and I can set the listener at the same time. So those are the two steps of wiring up with view binding, one step. So I'll do that for false button, binding dot, and that's all set. All right, let's start doing this for the next button. Binding dot next button dot set on-click listener. This time we do not need anything inside our curly brackets. In other words, we don't need to return a view. All we need to do is just update the current index. So we don't need to return anything, so that this part here is gone. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say basically advance the index. Current index is equal to parentheses current index plus 1 end parentheses mod question bank.size. Why is question bank? Because I misspelled it before, which didn't matter until now. All right, so mod question bank.size. Now what that's going to do is if I scroll to the end and I go one more, it's going to end up resetting the current index to 0 instead of, what, 6? Because 6 would be out of bounds. All right, so go to a spot after this on-click method for the next button. And we're going to type 2 lines. First line, val, question, text, res, ID. And you can see that it can't quite autocomplete, but it is something that this editor thought should be there. Equals question bank at current index, scroll over 1, dot text res ID. So we want to get the resource value for the text res ID. That's what this line is doing. All right, next line. Binding dot question text view dot set text parentheses and then the question text res ID that I made in line 42. Okay, so this has an error. May be difficult to find. If you went by the book step by step, you probably don't see this error. Let's see, where is this guy living? So not there, over here. Okay, so In a few videos ago, I had said that when we put an ID for the button, we actually had to do that ourselves. You can see it right there with the @+ID, because we don't get IDs automatically for buttons. I mistakenly for a second, but then I corrected myself in that video, said that a text view gets it automatically. It doesn't. It is an individual view. Strings get them automatically and layouts get them automatically, but buttons and text views do not. We never added a ID to the text view, and that's where this error is coming from over here in the main with question text view. Okay, so we're going back here and we're going to go Android : ID equals in double quotes @+ID /, and now we can't quite copy and paste it the way that we had it in the main activity, question text view. Think about how it would be, what would be the style here in XML. It would be question _ text _ view. All right, now let's go back to the main activity. Question text view is still red, and I see it right here. This should be uppercase. All right, so you can see now that a lot of the things that you might have considered style aren't exactly style anymore. Over here in the main activity, it's like Java, we end up using camel code style. That means that, like here, this word, set onClick listener, every new word just gets a capital letter to show it's a new word. If it is the first letter of the word, it depends. If it is a class, uppercase, and if it is an instance of the class, lowercase, and there are other cases too. Other cases, not like upper or lowercase, but like there are different things that could be lowercase, like values. All right, let's see, what else? Okay, and so in the on the XML side, you use snake code, which means that the words are separated but with an underscore instead of a space. So when we are binding and we get this like auto generate between the two, it's kind of doing a conversion for you as far as its understanding, right? So on this side, it was question _ text view, and on this side, it understands it as question text view. Snake code on one side and camel code on the other side. Okay. All right, now, for any button that gets hit, we need to do this update, but we kind of need to do that update for the next button right away. So those two lines of code, they should live here. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here as well. Okay, so if any button gets hit, it should update, but it should update automatically to move on to the next one. So if I ever copy and paste code, then that's a signal for that code should be in its own method. So we're going to go outside of the onCreate method, which has now gotten fairly long, and we are going to go private fun, and this is going to be update what? Update question. Pren, curly bracket, enter, and then I will paste this, these two lines of code there. So now I'll replace those two lines of code with a call to update question. All right. All right, so I paused there so you didn't have to see that, that build. Maybe a good idea to keep doing that in the future. All right, so what should be happening right now is, well, the true and the false button, they're going to work like they always did, because I never really said, let's actually check the value of whether I was right. At this point, if I hit true, I am going to get correct every single time. All questions are true, even though we know 2 of them are not. Okay, but what should be different now is if I click the next button, it should start scrolling. And let me make this bigger. So I should start scrolling through all the different questions, and I don't like that right there, the way that scrolled over. So I need to change that. And that only happened for that one question, but it scrolls around. It doesn't crash if I get to the end and go forward. And that's what that whole mod function was about. All right, let me put that back. Okay. So what we need to do now is we need to actually check the answer to see if it's right. So let's make a class that goes private fun check answer. Now this is going to take in a Boolean value for what button got hit. So we are going to say this is going to be a user answer of type Boolean. Right, curly brace, enter. Then we are going to say, let's see, val, correct answer is equal to, and we need to get that correct answer from the question. So we're going to go question bank at current index dot, and then select answer. Okay. Then we are going to have a variable message res ID, and that is going to be equal to, well, that actually depends. So if the correct answer and the user answer match, then you got it right. So if correct answer double equals user answer, okay, begin curly brace, then we are going to say it is equal to r dot string dot, and then we'll give the correct toast. Because they matched, they got it right. All right, go to the, well, actually we can stay right here, and we can put a begin curly brace, no, not a begin curly brace, an end curly brace, and then else, and then begin curly brace, and the end one is already there. And then otherwise, let's see, we are going to do r dot string dot incorrect toast. All right, don't like how that is laid out, so why did that happen? Nope, looks all right. All right, so let's see. Should it work now? Let's see. I'm going to run it. I'll pause. And I checked it, and the answer is no, it doesn't work. And while I was looking at it, this is what seemed unusual to me. This brace should be down there. There we go. And that should be tabbed over. That looks a lot better. Okay. So here's why it is not working. Like this question here, it should have said, if I hit true, it should have said incorrect. And it's not, and that's because I haven't actually done anything with message res ID. So I got to do 2 more things. Down here I got to go toast dot make text and this, and then message res ID, and then last one, toast dot length short. One more, I guess, dot show. We have our examples like right up here for false button. Instead of having r.string.incorrect toast, we pick the toast that matches. Did correct answer and user answer match? Then they got it correct. Otherwise, they got it incorrect. All right, so that should give me the correct toast, and I'm not going to run it because what I expect is that, things are going to be buggy over here, and that's because I'm actually sending 2 different toasts. because if I hit the true button, it's going to always say it's correct, but then it will come down here and say, well, you hit a button, so we're going to update. And since we're going to update, it's going to say, oh, well, that was either correct or incorrect. So I'm going to have these two toasts firing at almost the same time with either the same or different values. So long story short, I need to get rid of this line. And I just need to say check answer, passing in true for true button, and then check answer, passing in false for the false button. All right, now let's see if it works, and I won't do it without you. So let me. All right, so I haven't hit anything yet. Canberra should be true, and it says correct. I can scroll to the next one. I know that one's true. Let's skip to this one, which I know is false, and oh yeah, I was supposed to fix this, and I haven't. So if I hit true, it does say incorrect, and if I hit false, it does say correct, so it feels like that's working. All right, so I'm just going to fix this one last thing, and then we are wrapping up Chapter 2. So this would be how to get that to not scroll like that. We're going to go back to strings, back to activity, and under text view, let's see, we don't need to say it's question Australia, so that could just be gone, and I'll go Android gravity is equal to center, and I'll pause it and run again. All right, let's check. I haven't gone on without you. So what we're checking for here is that, yeah, that starts to be center justified instead of the default left justified. Okay, I think that we have done it. So we have done everything. We have done everything in Chapter 2. We added the question class. It was very short, but that was just able to give us these question objects that we could put into a list. Now, typically, if we would have bigger data, just a bigger project, we wouldn't have our data live in this tiny little class. We'd have it live in a database. So it's a little bit unusual, but it's a simple app. All right, so we added the question class, and we added the next button, and we updated the user interface, and then we used view binding to wire up our not only our next button, but we wired up our true button and our false button and our text view. And then we changed the logic so that as it scrolled through, it would give us the correct response, the correct toast for whether we got the question right or not. And we can scroll through. Now we can only scroll one direction. And it would be nice if we could scroll left or right or do some other things, but believe that might be an assignment for you guys. All right, so hopefully you guys are now up to the task after a couple chapters to make some changes to this class and have fun with it. All right. See you in Chapter 3.